Interstellar is seen and revered by a lot of people as one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time. Even its recent 10-year anniversary re-release for select IMAX screens has broken some records and accomplished some awesome feats for the movie years later. With a Rotten Tomatoes audience score of 87% and making over $21 million on its recent re-release 10 years later, over just 1 week of being on select IMAX screens, even though people could just watch this movie from home, shows that even a decade later after the movie's initial release, that it's still known as one of the GOATs in the genre, but also that people have a real longing for a great sci-fi project. And that's where Exodus comes in. Exodus is what I think could be the next big step for gaming in the sci-fi RPG genre. And even though in this video I will be comparing it mostly to Interstellar, and people will more than likely compare it to Mass Effect as well, I think this will eventually be the next big sci-fi franchise. To surmise it briefly, it comes from some of the original team members from the golden age of BioWare, like developers from Mass Effect 1 and 2, and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which, if you want to see a brief breakdown of all the early details we know about Exodus and early plot details, make sure to check out this video on screen, as it has more information if you're interested, which will be linked in the description of this video. But getting back to the topic at hand, I believe Exodus will essentially be a spiritual successor of sorts to not only the Mass Effect series, which some of the developers actually helped spearhead back in the day, but also to the movie Interstellar. This game already has a lot of key elements, at least in my opinion, that screams Interstellar through and through. From having Matthew McConaughey playing a vital character in the series, to the full-on focus of time dilation being a major cornerstone in the plot. In this video, I will be listing all the ways Exodus might just be what Interstellar fans have been waiting for, but in video game form. So, if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to grab a snack and stick around as we get right into it. First on up, let's start off with one of the coolest correlations between the two, being Matthew McConaughey having a pivotal role in the Exodus universe. Now, Matthew McConaughey has been all about Texas since moving over there in 2014, which is actually the year that Interstellar actually released. But even then, I think no one could have guessed that in 2023 at the Game Awards that he would announce a team-up in the gaming industry, with the new development team based in Austin, Texas, being Archetype Entertainment, who are actually the developers behind Exodus. I'll show you guys that very announcement right now.
I'm here tonight because I have a world premiere for you from Austin's own Archetype Entertainment. I'm also here tonight because the video game that I'm premiering is the first ever video game that I'm a part of. Yay. When the Archetype team first reached out to me, I was excited about becoming a part of the gaming world, but what really turned me on was when they shared the game's vision and my role in it. I will be voicing a character in this game, and all I can say is that I will have a unique relationship with every player. In this game, time moves differently. Days for you are decades for your loved ones back home. The choices that you make not only affect the people that you love, they'll also affect your entire civilization for generations to come. Now, personally, I have had some experience with time dilation. And now you can too. So now I am proud to share the first ever look at Exodus.
In the announcement, you hear him essentially even reference Interstellar with not only the time dilation explanation, but also him straight up saying that he's had experience with the concept, which was a pivotal point in the movie as well. Since this announcement, we've had confirmation that McConaughey's character is called CC Orlev, and is the narrator on every Species trailer that they've released so far on their official YouTube channel for the game. McConaughey is confirmed to have a major role in the Exodus universe by the developers themselves. And CC Orlev also has a very curious sign-off in which he states in every video at the very end, "I am CC Orlev. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow." Which leads me to my next correlation that the two properties have, being time dilation. Time dilation plays a pivotal role in the Exodus universe. The lead mind behind the project, James Olin, literally came out of retirement with a blank check from his investors to essentially put together his version of a super writing and development team to work on a concept he has been interested in since he was a kid, being time dilation. Of course, this very concept was a big plot device in the Interstellar movie as well, as Matthew McConaughey's character is trying to race against the clock to save the people that he loves back home. One of the coolest scenes in my opinion that depicts time dilation real well from at least the Interstellar side of things is the tense water planet scene in the movie, where through the intense moments being depicted, every tick of the clock of the song in the background represents a full day on Earth passing, where they are in a rush not only to get the data they need to help the people back on Earth as fast as possible, but to try to make it back to their loved ones as well. Here's the very snippet I was talking about. Make sure to pay very close attention to the background soundtrack clicks, as that's what represents the time dilation happening that I mentioned before. Every single tick is a day on Earth passing.
Wreckage. Where's the rest?
Where's the mountains?
Those aren't mountains. They're waves.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Shit.
That one's moving away from us.
We need the recorder.
Doyle, back to the Ranger now.
We're not leaving without her data.
Get back here now.
Time dilation also makes the end of the movie itself one of the most emotional endings they could have written up for the movie. It's not just a scene of a man reuniting with and about to lose his daughter, but a man missing out on the opportunity of living his life with her, but at the same time, being so proud of what she was able to do and accomplish along with how she lived her life. And Murph even says a line at the end of the movie that would resonate with any parent or even child as well. No parent should have to watch their own child die. It's just such a touching moment on so many levels. The reunion, the time dilation disparity between the two, the death about to occur, and all of these key factors to what makes this scene so good and so emotional has the possibility to occur in Exodus. And if we get a scene even close to this on an emotional level in the game, we are in for not only one of the best sci-fi space RPG plots ever seen in gaming, but one of the most emotional ones to boot. The whole about 9-minute ending of the film, in my opinion, is just a taste of the possibilities we can see from just one of the missions in the game, let alone the whole game in its entirety. On top of that, giving players agency to make their own hard decisions throughout their playthrough and see all these different outcomes based on your different choices, then you're talking about something that could be in talks for one of the coolest game narratives in the last decade, up there with games like Baldur's Gate 3 and the Mass Effect series. Now, before we actually get to the end scene we just touched on, there is a very interesting scene where Matthew McConaughey's character essentially goes through their version of the fifth dimension, where time and space is all mixed into one, and he can see every version of Murph in the house they grew up in, where he ultimately leaves her the message to solve their problem on Earth with Morse code. Officially, this place is called the Tesseract, and it is what allows Cooper to pull the strings in a multi-dimensional space that allows him to communicate with his daughter, which bridges the past and future and allows him to communicate with her through space and time. I know, it's very confusing, but stay with me here. Now, through developer Q&As, James Olin has said that CC Orlev's sign-off that we touched on before is a quote-unquote clue. And I'm wondering if somehow this scene in Interstellar would also somehow be applicable to Exodus. Although, of course, that is just speculation on my part. But what we do know is CC Orlev has this sign-off for a reason, just like the creator mentioned. And one of the only reasons I could think this to truly be the case is because of something like what happens in the movie Interstellar playing out, where he is able to either be in the past, present, and essentially the future through his adventures in space with time dilation, or some weird way like they depict in Interstellar, like the scene in the Tesseract. Now, at the end of the day, do I know if this game is going to live up how they themselves are describing the game and what I think the game has the potential to be? No. Only time will really tell, and unfortunately, I can't travel at light speed to cause time dilation to find out any sooner. But one thing I know for sure is this is created with creative freedom, as they themselves have said, and essentially a blank check to do what their vision is for what they want and how they want it. And the founder of the game's development team, James Olin, came out of retirement to tell one last story that he believed in and really wanted to tell. He brought in people he has worked with and just straight up believes in across the industry that have done some great work in the past. And when you have all of these stars aligning and people with real passion working on something that they truly believe in, it's hard not to jump in and start believing along with them as well. In terms of the people who are actually working on Exodus, this includes some people who made and wrote the characters and stories from some of my favorite games of all time, including people that worked on games like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age Origins, and Mass Effect 1 and 2. And for me personally, it's not just the nostalgia that makes these games so great in my eyes either. I love everything about those games to this day, from the characters to the awesome stakes and plot in all of those properties. I truly believe that not only could this be the next big sci-fi franchise, but something that no one is going to want to miss out on story and character-wise when this game fully releases. I don't think this game will just be a Mass Effect spiritual successor or just an Interstellar spiritual successor, but its own thing that will eventually evolve, just like a Celestial, into possibly one of the greatest sci-fi properties out there. Now, if you want to see what this game has in store for us in terms of gameplay, I have broken down every detail that I could find in their first gameplay reveal trailer in this video shown on screen, which will also be linked in the description if you're interested. Other than that though, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know if you guys are excited for Exodus and if you're interested in the concept of a Mass Effect or Interstellar spiritual successor in the comment section down below. For everyone that's made it this far, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed or found it entertaining, make sure to scroll down and make that like button glow so we can reach our like goal of 25 likes for this video. While you're down there, consider subscribing as we will be covering Exodus as updates come out, and make sure to check out some of my other Exodus content, like how to get in-game gear for free before the game even comes out, and what some of the scariest species revealed so far are for the game. As always, your support through your viewership, liking, and subscribing is always greatly appreciated and helps me out tremendously against the celestial threat that is the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Peace!